Hi, I'm Paul Brodie. We're back in the shop. Welcome back. Mitch behind the cameras. We have a frame here. We have a down tube. I thought I would talk about frames for a little bit. I learned to build frames back in 1984. I got a job working for Rocky as their frame builder, and there was no frame building classes then. There was no YouTube, so I taught myself to build frames, so I'm self-taught. So in between 84 and 86, I made 113 frames for Rocky. And then in 86, May, I took off on my own. I started Brodie Bikes. And over the next 15 years, me and the guys there, we made over 4,000 frames. So I knew how to build frames. And then in 2010, I started at the University of the Fraser Valley out in Abbotsford. And I was teaching Frame Building 101. So I knew how to build frames, but then I had to explain how to build frames. And those are two different things. You can know how to do something, but how you explain it, that can be sort of hit and miss. But apparently I had a little bit of a knack, and I explained to my classes how to build frames. And as you explain things over and over and over again, you get better. And I got good, I think. So, and then COVID hit, and the university raised the price of the course from $3,000 to $5,000. That was a 66% increase, and nobody signed up. Big surprise. So that's when Mitch said to me, what about YouTube? So that's when we started YouTube. That's almost 6 years ago now. In April, it'll be 6 years. And what I found in the YouTube is that because we were doing a variety of things, often I'm explaining things for the first time. That's a lot harder than explaining something you've explained over and over and over again. So I just wanted to let you know that it's not always easy explaining things. And what we do here, Mitch says, okay, we're on. And so we do a take. We hardly ever do a second take. What you see here, there's no AI, and it is what it is. It's usually 99% of the time, it's first take. So thanks for joining us, and we're going to talk about the frame now. So this is a frame. It's a 16-inch Sovereign that got made in our shop, and it was sold to this Happy Cyclist. Happy Cyclist was down in Point Roberts, Washington, and it was sold on February 7th, 1994. This is frame number 2594. And I don't know what happened on the down tube here. It's got some dents here, and it looks like someone took some carbon fiber and they wrapped it around the tube here, and it even went over the water bottle boss. So it's very unusual way of fixing a steel frame. I don't know what's under the carbon fiber, but the whole tube is kind of wowed like that, and dents here. So anyway, I got a new tube. It's Tanguay Prestige. It's a 958 tube, and so what that means is that the wall thickness here is 0.9 millimeters, and then it tapers inside to 0.5 millimeter, and then this is 0.8 millimeters. So the heavier end, or the thicker wall, goes up to the head tube because there's more force here than there is at the bottom bracket. And I got the butt detector here, and you can see where the butt starts and ends. See here? I made this up. So when the needle goes down, that's when it gets a thinner wall. So this one it starts going thin right about here. That's not too long. This end, I've noticed, it stays heavier a lot longer. See, that's where it goes down. That's a lot longer than up here. So I'm going to take a little bit of tubing off here, and then we're going to go over to the mill. I've got 1.5 inch hole saw because the bottom bracket is 1.5 inch, and then I've got a hacksaw out the tube, do a bit of grinding, bit of filing, it gets TIG welded. So thanks for joining. That's through. Okay, now we'll do this. So I'll use a frame block here, 1.25 inch frame block. There you go. Okay, so I tried the, oh, I got pretty close to the head tube, didn't I? That's okay. It means I have to do less on the grinding. Okay, so we're going to go to the mill now. We're going to miter the bottom of the down tube, and then I'll do some grinding. Okay, that's good. On the seat tube, I don't know if you noticed, but it's got a bulge butt. It's a concept seat tube, really nicely made. See how it flares out to make it stronger? Nice set of tubing. Okay, what I have to do is to mark where the miter is going to be, and then I have to check the angle as well. So I've got the down tube on the bottom bracket off to the side. I raise it up about where I think it's going to go. Then I take a ruler and I put a mark on the tube, and that's the top. It's 1 1/8 head tube, so 1 7/16 hole saw, and I've got my protractor here, and I'm going to set that up and figure out an angle for mitering. I used to have all the specs on a sheet for all these frames, but I don't know where that sheet is right now, and I can't be bothered to look. So I hold the tube about where I think it should go. I put the protractor on there, and then I line up the ruler with the jig. It's pretty close right there. I'll lock it, and then I'll check it. So the miter angle is, I don't know, 25 degrees. Is that right? Yeah. It looks like it's 25, so I'll do a double check here. And that looks good. I can't take it all with one cut. I gotta take a couple cuts. I'm gonna leave it a little bit longer because I can always make the tube shorter, but I can't make it longer. Okay, we're gonna go back to the frame jig and do a check. Look at that. I mean, okay, I've got the tube off to the side here, but that looks pretty darn good there. So what I have to do now is to make the down tube fit onto the seat tube. Okay, so can you see how I've got a gap on the bottom here? Got a gap right there. And so what I need to do, I got to take off more of the down tube here so that it fits. I've got the angle pretty good on the seat tube, on the down tube to match the seat tube. So I just have to do a bit more filing, and looks like I got the length okay. So that's good. So a little more filing. Okay. And I got a tiny little gap in there. See that? I can put paper down there, but it's pretty minimal. Okay, gonna sand up these ends. I'll do some TIG welding. I haven't TIG welded for a long time. A little nervous about that. It's a pretty thin tube in there. It's only 0.5 millimeter or 20 thou. Okay. So I guess we're going to the TIG welder now. Let's see what I can do. Okay. I'll put a mark which way we're going. We are coming over that way. These tubes are pretty strong. Okay, so we're just touching. And that's a pretty big gap. Well, we'll see what we can do. I think something happened to this frame. Maybe it was in a bad accident or something. Because when we looked in the old down tube, it really got hit or something. So, and I don't want to wrinkle a tube. That wouldn't be good. I don't really have another one. It's my last one. See, it's not really moving. Yikes. Okay, so what I can do, because maybe what I will do, is to heat up the bottom bracket. And then when I pull it, it's flexing the bottom bracket a little bit because it gets faced and chased anyway. You know, because the top tube and the head tube, at one point, those two tubes were in alignment when it left our shop, what, 32 years ago? So yeah, something happened to the frame. So, okay, I'm gonna heat up the bottom bracket and give it a pull. Okay, we got a bit of heat into that. Okay. It's hard to know how much force to put on there. Okay, so it moved a little bit. So maybe I'll pull it a bit more. Oh, it's still got a lot to go. But it's still warm, so see what happens. If not, we'll put on a little bit more heat. So there's a little gap. Oh no, we need more heat. Okay, so that's just touching. Well, so it's out half that. Let's go over to the surface table here and see what happens now. Okay, so yes, got bent. That's what happened. Okay, so we'll give it a straighten. This is the surface table, and we call these things the hooks, because that's what holds it. So there we go. I got space under there. It's like a cheetah bar, right? I'm hoping that my Tig Tac doesn't pop. Ooh. So I do need a space under this side of a little bit. Maybe a 1/16 of an inch. That's what we used to do. Yeah, this frame was in an accident, I'm pretty sure. I wouldn't be surprised if the Tig Tac pops. Maybe. Oh. It popped. Okay. I don't have to worry about that anymore. No way. Okay. It looks like that's hitting, so I need a bigger spacer. So what has to happen here, this tube here has to twist to get the frame into alignment, right? It's quite amazing how much that top tube has a twist. Okay, so it's touching. Well, okay, we'll say that's good then. It's got a tiny gap, but when you weld around clockwise this way, it usually pulls, so. Well, I got the down tube in, it's welded in. There's still other things to do like facing and chasing the braze-ons, alignment, reaming the head tube, but Mitch has to go to front, so we're kind of on a time crunch here. So thanks for joining us. Mitch and I like coffees, you know that really helps our channel a lot. And please like, subscribe. See you next time.